Welcome to the Enterprise Tech Content Creators Podcast. My name is John Seaton. And in this podcast, we talk to creators who are making content specifically for social media in the enterprise space. We'll talk about how they got started, what are the challenges, as well as what are the benefits. The hope is that you get started on creating your own content. So today I want to welcome Adam Schaeffer and Matt Sommer. Both are solution engineers at Cisco. Now, Adam has a YouTube channel named The Tech Catalyst with almost 7,000 subscribers that he's grown over the past 7 years with a whopping, wait for it, 160 videos. Now, in contrast, Matt's just starting out with his YouTube channel called Hybrid Work Today, just about 3 weeks in with 11 videos. That's a good week to video ratio. Let's see if he can keep it up. And 26 subscribers. So he's building. And I have a YouTube channel called Collaboration Specialist. Started about 3 years ago with 437 subscribers, modest, and about 76 videos. Adam is what I call an OG content creator, and Matt is new to this adventure, and I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. So I want to have both of you guys on to get the take of someone who's been doing this successfully for a while. So I consider that to be you, Adam, versus someone just starting out with is Matt. So guys, welcome to the podcast. Adam, since you've been doing this for a while, tell me a little bit about your journey and why'd you get started?
Absolutely. So when I started at Cisco, I was a solutions architect in the commercial space. And in commercial, we had hundreds of accounts. So scale was the name of the game. And, we didn't spend, we weren't embedded in accounts like we are more in the enterprise space. It was kind of a, solve problems and if you have another customer that you have to work with. So making demos and how-tos that were repeatable and even searchable was kind of the general idea, and it took off from there.
Now, how about you, Matt? What's inspired you to get started?
So your podcast was one of them that made me kind of revisit what I was doing. There was a couple of things. So I've recorded videos on and off, and I would send them directly to customers, right?
Right.
And then more recently, I saw what you and some others were doing on LinkedIn, and I said, yeah, I can pop some things out there. Then I was watching your podcast with Cisco Sal recently, a week or
Shout
two
out to
ago,
Sal.
and he had mentioned in there, things like LinkedIn are kind of for like push, and where YouTube is more of a pull, and the videos are searchable. You can find them later. Where on LinkedIn, you publish them, people interact with them for a couple of days, maybe a week, and then they're just gone into the ether. No one ever looks at them again, right? And I stopped and said, yeah, what am I doing? I spent all this time on these videos.
Yeah.
Let me do it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that, therefore, they're there for people to look up and revisit, and they can kind of rewatch instead of just having them disappear in the LinkedIn stream.
Yeah, I think, there's benefits to both, right? And the way I look at it, I kind of have my feet in both areas where I do LinkedIn, some specifically for LinkedIn and then some specifically for YouTube. I think if you're just trying to build your brand and your network, the LinkedIn ones are good, but like you said, they're short-lived, right? It's just they go through someone's feed and they're gone. But then people remember you, and that can hopefully drive traffic to your YouTube channel. When I look at your content, Adam, it's a lot of how-tos, very specific to the technical community. How do you come up with your ideas? And the one of them that I really came across yesterday that I found funny was you took apart a DX80. It looked like just for the heck of it, right?
Yeah, well, I guess a couple things is I get feedback and questions, right? So if I get a question a handful of times and it would lend itself to a quick video, I'm gonna make the video, right? So I can send it out. I'm a visual learner myself, so it makes sense to me. Admittedly, sometimes I go back to my own stuff to remember how to do things.
Same here.
So there's a little bit of that, and then occasionally I make just the video that I want to make if I think it's entertaining. Sometimes the viewership says otherwise, but at least I'm having a good time with it. And sometimes
Right.
the videos I spend the least time on are the most popular. So I just kind of make the stuff that I think is useful, and the chips kind of fall where they may from there.
So how you starting your process, Matt? I know you're early on, but I know you gave it some thought.
So historically, I'd say it was customer driven and kind of the questions being asked. Yeah. So there were a lot of customers that would ask the same questions, like Adam was saying there. And it's like, well, why not? Even though I only have 12 customers, right? And being in the enterprise space, we have
Yeah.
fewer to cover. I still don't want to repeat the same thing 12 times if I don't have to. Record it and send it out. And then, I want to get into some more long format how-to videos, and I have a whole list of things to do. It's just finding the time to do some of them. Right now, as I think Cisco Sales said this in your last podcast, when he's working on something for a customer, let's record it now while it's fresh
Yeah.
and I'm doing it. So that's kind of how I'm doing it right now as I'm going through stuff. So I have a whole list of things that I want to get to, but as I'm working on things that are very important right in the now with customers, those are the ones I'm recording, immediately,
Yeah.
because I'm already working on it. I don't need to work on it
Yeah.
in the evening. I can do it during my workday and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I remember when I started, I had a whole list. I'd just be writing all day of all the list
Yep.
of things and videos that I wanted to make. It's kind of slowed down since then. And I've noticed, Adam, that you even on LinkedIn solicited, I think, some folks, like, what should I do next, right? Sort of looking for
All
ideas. Is
right.
that right?
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes you go through there and you get some ahas, and other times you're like,
Yeah.
oh geez, that's going to be a lot harder than I thought it would be. So
Hmm.
you pick and choose a little bit, but yeah, feedback is great. And even in the comment section of the videos, you get feedback sometimes that is helpful as far as where you go next.
Yeah, because you've got a bigger subscriber base. So I imagine because I was talking to Sal about this, that, you also have to manage, those comments and that interaction and
Right.
engagement that comes by, because that helps with the algorithm too, right? I imagine if you're
Exactly.
interacting with folks. Now, I asked Sal this question, and I'm not going to ask this to you, Matt, because I know you're not there yet, but in terms of monetization. So you've got enough subscribers. Do you have enough viewing hours? Are you getting that, $1,000 check per month for what you're producing?
Oh, $1,000. I don't know if it's even that per year, but it's a little bit. I think I refreshed my camera a year and a half ago. So yeah, no, I'm definitely not one of the big names on YouTube. No brand deals, no,
Right.
nothing crazy there. Don't worry.
One of the other things that I wanted to ask was, you started to talk about your camera. I'm a little of a tech head too, and a geek when it comes to this stuff. So, what are you guys using for tools to create your videos?
Gotcha. Well, I'll mention what I have first. I have actually I have it right here. It's a Canon EOS M6 Mark II. So not the latest, not the most expensive,
Hmm.
but it works. It works pretty well. I have the lens that it came with, and then I have a Sigma as well that has some
Hmm.
different focal depth things you can do.
Right.
I use I use the mic that's built in a lot of times, or I have
Okay.
a little mic that sits on top,
Hmm.
um, and a tripod.
Hmm.
Nothing elaborate. Honestly, there's a lot of videos that are pretty popular out there that were done with a GoPro or a cell phone. So if you go back in the archive, you'll kind of see the lighting and the quality change as you go back, but nothing terribly elaborate, to be honest.
Yeah, I looked at your first video. You didn't even show your face on your first video you published.
Oh, right, it was just a
It was
demo
just
or
it
on
was just a
screen, if I
demo.
recall. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Matt, you look a little bit more sophisticated there. You got the lighting going on. It looks like sort of
Yeah.
like, it looks like you put some thought into it. So talk to me a little bit about what you've done over there.
So I mean, yeah, I put some thought into it, but it wasn't with recording videos in mind. It's just,
Okay.
all of us working in the collaboration space spend a lot of time on video anyway. So
Right.
yeah, I put some nice lighting behind me. It's just some LED strips that have these little glass tubes that rotate to create the shimmering
Nice.
effect. So it's kind of neat. Uh, as far as cameras, I have a Canon. I haven't used it for any of these videos. I primarily use my Desk Pro camera. So using the Cisco WebEx
Yeah,
Desk
looks
Pro
good.
right
Yeah,
there.
it looks good.
And then for a lot of demos, I'll also use the 4K Cisco USB camera. I had it
Hmm.
set up this morning looking at this 9800 series phone for a live demo I was doing for a customer. So if I'm in other parts of my office here, I'll oftentimes use that, or I have a Board Pro I use the camera on occasionally as well. So I generally use the Cisco cameras for my videos thus far. But at some point I might look at using the Canon to get a little higher quality, especially the lighting in here. I'm in a basement office with no windows.
That actually is an advantage because you can control the
Yeah,
lighting.
you can control it very
It
much.
Yeah,
is. I've windows everywhere, so it's you'll see in
hard.
some of my videos the lighting changes, and I try to stay ahead of it as best I can. But yeah, basement's not a bad place to be, and you got 100%
Right.
control of the light.
Yeah, I used to shoot out of my office. I had skylights, and like you said, you can't control the light. And when
30
a
days.
cloud goes by, it's like, oh, come on, really? I've
Yeah,
got a Canon.
I don't
No, go
have
ahead.
any like soft boxes, but I have a cheap LED light that I bought online. It's just meant to be a desk light, but it works as a great little kind of side front fill light, and you can adjust
Yeah,
the color
I would have
temperature on
guessed that you had a softbox
it.
because the lighting, I guess it's the background lighting, just a combination of lighting you
Yeah,
got. Looks pretty darn good. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I was surprised. I've got a Canon R6 Mark II that I just got not too long ago. So I've been shooting on Canon, these studio type things, but I've done videos on my iPhone that, like you said, my
Mhm.
iPhone videos, yeah, they've had a lot more viewership than, these videos of like the studio ones, right? And that's the other thing that depending on what the video is about, sometimes an overproduced video will get less viewership than something that looks
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
rough and run and gun. So it's interesting, based on things like that. But I think for YouTube, which is what really the topic we're talking about, there is a certain level of expectation for a YouTube video to have really good audio and have really good
yeah.
video on that. So I understand what you're using for recording. What about thumbnails? So Adam, I'm really impressed with your evolution of thumbnails. So can you talk a little bit about how you approach that and what tools you use?
Yeah, so believe it or not, I actually build my thumbnails in PowerPoint.
So you like
Believe it or
Sal.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, PowerPoint it's on my desktop already. There's probably things I could do with Photoshop that would go a little bit further, but I've made a lot of figured out how to do a lot of clever things with PowerPoint. So I
Mhm.
just use PowerPoint and resize and shade and you add gradients and things to try and spice them up a little bit.
Yep.
I've learned that simple but large text and just a key picture is kind of the formula that I use just to keep it
Hmm.
simple. It's what works for sometimes it works for me, right? YouTube is a
It's
quite
finished.
interesting
Yep.
interesting place, but that's typically what I do. It's easy for me to produce, and it looks pretty professional, and
Hmm.
yeah.
that's kind of what I've been going with at this point.
How you been approaching it, Matt?
So the first couple of videos when I was putting them on YouTube, I didn't realize I was just throwing them up there. I wasn't putting any kind of special thumbnail on there.
Right.
I just choose something from the video, and then I was looking at some of your guys' videos and said, yeah, you're right. It would look a lot more
Something else to
professional.
do.
Put the title on here and that kind of stuff. So um, I I forgot about the PowerPoint thing that Cisco Salad said. Now you reminded me, Adam. I need to get that your template from you and see how you're doing it.
The
'Cause I think there's a
template's
few things.
always the one I did before. I just copy it and make
Yeah.
changes.
Right. Exactly.
And I've been taking essentially screenshots out of my videos and
Hmm.
putting it into preview on my Mac and just editing things in there like super basic.
Yeah.
Not going too crazy yet.
Yeah, yeah. I've been playing. I started out with PowerPoint, then I've been playing with Camtasia a little bit for not Camtasia, Canva rather. I always
Oh
get the
yeah,
two
Canva.
confused. Been
I
playing
use
with
that for
Canva
some things.
for some of those. They've got a lot of good thumbnail templates that you can use, and even the free version, you can get some relatively professional looking thumbnails from that. This leads me to the conversation around branding, right? Because Adam, you've got pretty interesting branding, the tech catalyst. I get the play on words,
Yeah.
right? Which is pretty
Mhm.
cool. So how'd you come up with that? And when it comes to like banners and logos on your YouTube channel, did you give a lot of thought to that? Or you just kind of in the beginning threw some stuff up there?
Yeah, in the beginning, it's definitely been an evolution. I think in the beginning, I think I even called it something different initially. I forget exactly what it was, but a peer of mine, we were spitballing ideas one day, and the tech catalyst came up. I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to run with that. That's
Yeah.
good. And the little the icon to go with the page is I think a free image of an Ethernet switch. I don't even know if it's a Cisco switch, but it's
Mhm.
that's what I'm using. It's been on there for a while. Maybe I'll update it, but I don't know what I would update it to.
Needs to be
Right.
a catalyst.
Get something that says Catalyst in it. Exactly. Yeah. So, you know, I'm sure it all makes a difference, right? But I haven't changed a whole lot with that for quite a while, and I have the vast majority of my stuff is Cisco stuff. So I think the
Yeah.
circuit board in the background with the Cisco logo was kind of cool. That was actually that's the main board of a WebEx board that failed that I have in my basement that I took apart. I
Hmm.
don't think I did a video on that, just because I wasn't sure if that would be approved or not. But yeah, that's what it was. It was kind of interesting to take it apart. And I'm like, that's a cool picture. So I took that
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it works. I think your branding works really well. And I love the play on words. Matt, so it looks like you put some thought into your banner. I'm like, wow, that looks really cool, and your icons and everything. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So when I was first posting to LinkedIn, I didn't have much thought at all into it. Right. I'm just this is something that would be make for a good video and people could get use out of, and I'd post them. But yeah, sitting down to create the YouTube page, I said, all right, what do I actually want to do here? And I wanted to focus on collaboration, and kind of the biggest thing right now in collaboration is hybrid work.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I came up with that idea. The logos are primarily generated from AI, just
Nice.
tweaking back and forth.
Okay.
I created that YouTube site and all the logos for it in an evening.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe 2 hours
Yeah.
of just, recreating some things. So using artificial intelligence to help with some of these creative things is pretty nice. That was probably one of the first things that I really used it for, instead of just goofing around, typing things in, and seeing what was generated with a picture from text. But yeah, so I wanted to kind of focus and make sure people were like, all right, if I want to learn about Cisco collaboration, here's a place that I can go where I know that's where they're going to be talking about it, instead of trying to spread myself too wide, right?
Right. Right.
And
So you found a
people
niche.
don't know what I'm about.
Yeah, you're focusing more on a niche. I like the fact that I like the hybrid work today. It almost reminds me of like a morning show and
Right.
like the Today Show. And the fact that you use AI, I think, is pretty cool. I just recently revamped my logo, and I took some combination of logos from Canva, and I always like to do a little bit of tongue in cheek. So I chose two figures with tin cans and a string, right? Because that's the
Yeah.
original, collaboration between folks. And so I'm using that as my logo. I just recently did a revamp, but you get to a good point that I also didn't cover in some of the last calls, but the use of AI. So you brought that up,
Mhm.
Matt. Um, Adam, have you used AI in any of your productions in any way, shape, or form yet to help
I
with
don't think that I have technically. No, not in this. I've used it to write some blog articles, or at least
Mhm.
get you the first
The draft
60%
started?
of
Yeah.
that type of thing. But yeah, I don't think I've used any in the YouTube channel at this point.
And Matt, any other than your banners, any use of AI?
So for a couple of videos, what do they call them? Quick bites that the Cisco marketing team was doing. They wanted me to do one, and for that, I used, I don't know if it was ChatGPT or Gemini or one of them to help write a script. I'm like, all right, for this, what do I want to do? And it gave me a couple options that were pretty good, and then I ran with it from there and edited it down. And then of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention recording on my Desk Pro means I get AI with voice and noise cancellation
That's
all the
right.
time.
Yeah.
It's built right in.
Yeah.
So, but otherwise, no, I haven't used a lot of AI tools in any of my videos yet.
Yeah, I've used it in one of my videos. It was the video where I talked about WebEx came out with a feature where you have virtual background,
Mhm.
and then you can put a video as your virtual background. So I was like, wouldn't it be cool if I just put a looped video of myself in the virtual background so that I didn't have to be in the meeting and people thought I was in the meeting? And so I
That was a
put that
great video.
concept in,
Yeah.
yeah, I put that concept into Chat GPT, and it gave me that was one of the first videos that I did that with, and it gave me actual each shot and the dialogue for that video. And of course, you go in and tweak it, but that video did pretty darn good. I had put it on LinkedIn, and I got a lot of reaction. And the reaction that was really funny was those people who thought I was really being serious about doing that. And they're like, "Oh, that's not right. You shouldn't do that." I'm like, "Okay, lack of sense of humor out there, but it's okay." So that's really cool, because I think, being able to use AI as a drafting tool and an idea tool, I also use it for, coming up with titles, right? What should my title be for my YouTube video? And it'll give me, some ideas around that. So let's get to challenges around creating content. The first thing I want to get to is, people always say consistency helps to build momentum, helps to build your channel. So Adam, do you have like a schedule you're trying to meet, or you just do them as you can?
So that's a good question. It has gone in phases over the last 7 years or
7 years.
whatever, and it was kind of really ad hoc at first. There was a time where I really ramped it up and produced a lot of stuff, and I had done one at least once a week for a while, and the growth followed it.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I haven't done quite as many recently, and things have tapered off as well. I've
Yeah.
had a couple, the net influx of subscribers is still positive, but you see the graph on certain days you actually
Right.
lose more than you gain.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a number of reasons to it, I'm sure. Sometimes like the content has shifted a little bit in scope, so I had a lot of videos about maybe more like end user centric WebEx videos.
Right.
So when you have something like that and you come back to more technologist centric stuff, you lose some of those people,
And it's a different audience, right? Yeah.
different audience.
Yeah.
And but from a scheduling perspective, I've been, when I had the best success was when I was consistent. Right
Yeah.
now I've been off the pace a little bit just with everything else going on, but scheduling is best. You carve out the time to make sure you can do it, and what you schedule gets done.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Matt? What's your objective?
I'm very much winging it right now. I would like to have it more scheduled, and if I could release a video a week, maybe something short. The longer ones can take a little time to edit.
Yeah.
And yeah, and a minute ago you asked what are some of the challenges. It's time. It's probably the
Mm-hmm.
biggest one, and my own sort of tilt towards perfectionism. Instead of just knocking out a video and say yes, that's good enough, and getting them out there. I'm like, I said that weird. Let me redo that, or oh man, I didn't notice whatever in the back. And those details probably don't matter to 99% of them, but so it takes me a little longer than it probably should sometimes to edit.
Yeah. So let's talk about editing and retakes, right? When a video is actually posted, at least in my case, if they saw what it took and the outtakes, a lot of which I would never want to publish. Talk to me about the process, right? Because when I see your videos, Adam, I see yours, Matt, they're well produced. You guys are smooth. There's not a lot of ums and ahs. What's it take to do that? And then what's your editing process afterwards?
That's a good question. So, well, I'll start with the way that I typically do it is I normally don't script them. I just kind of think about it and then go for it, but know that I'm going to record it 4 or 5 times.
Right.
Normally at the end, if you did good or not. If there's ums or ahs or a pause, I can go in and I normally know where they are, chop them out. I've watched the whole thing through a few times, chop those out and tighten it up. Even pauses I take out because it's, you don't want people to lose their attention span to wander, right? So just try to keep it as tight as I can and go from there. Occasionally I have some B-roll that I edit in, but typically it's me talking or me talking with a screen displayed. And I try to, more recently I've been putting like my face in the corner while I'm speaking to what's on the screen. So nothing terribly sophisticated in terms of editing, but you definitely have to clean some stuff up, even on the best take that you take.
Yeah. How about you, Matt? What's your process?
So when I usually will record 3, 4 or more takes, and oftentimes I'll record them via WebEx or I'm sorry, Vidcast, part of our WebEx suite.
Okay, good.
And that limits me to 720p. So I got a little bit of limitation I'm working with there, but then I'm using our own tool. I can post them internally on our Vidcast tool so people can see things there. I download it from Vidcast though, then to do real editing. That can let you trim a few things and do some stuff. But
What do you use?
Final Cut Pro.
Okay.
So
Me
I've been
too.
using that for a number of years for different side projects that I do. I like to make electronic music on the side, and when I release some of those things, I'll put a little video with it. So I was familiar with Final Cut Pro, and that's what I've been using. It has a bit of a learning curve to it,
Yeah.
but once you understand it, it's a very, very powerful editing software.
What are you using, Adam, for post edit?
So early on, I started with iMovie, and someone pointed me to DaVinci Resolve, which is I'm using the free
Mhm.
version of that,
Mhm.
and it works. It works pretty well. There's again certainly a learning curve, and some of the ways that you have to do things like it's really not the most intuitive way, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of YouTube videos on how to do it. So
Yeah.
that's that's how I've been doing most of it.
Yeah, I'm with Matt. I use Final Cut Pro, but I use a lot of different tools now depending on what I want to do. Like if I want to do closed captioning, I'll dump it into CapCut because they have great closed
Okay.
captioning tools to do that. And then if I'm doing vertical format, I'll put it in CapCut. I started out in iMovie, same way, but then I graduated to Final Cut Pro. And I play with DaVinci Resolve a little bit, but I'm like, well, if I know Final Cut, why learn another complicated tool?
Exactly.
I didn't even go down that route. That's where I'm at. But I think, the message here is I like what you're doing, Matt, because you're using a lot of just Cisco tools to do it. You're recording on WebEx, or you're using
Yeah.
VidCast, and you're using your Desk Pro, and you're not really doing any special lighting. And so you're proof positive that you can use just the Cisco tools and create decent YouTube videos, which I think is fantastic, which is, as a Cisco employee, that's zero investment, right? That you
Yeah.
have to make. So that's pretty good. Have you ever had any shifting gears now? Adam, have you ever had any interaction with marketing, or what have been some of the benefits that you've seen off of your channel?
I've had a few interactions with marketing. Actually, not a whole lot, to be honest.
Hmm.
But occasionally, there was a group internally where we kind of kicked around a few ideas, that type of thing. But the benefit that I've seen is just awareness personally to career wise,
Yep.
as well as awareness to new technologies or new ways of implementing technologies. Has kind of been the benefit that I've seen, and of course, I've had a lot of fun doing it as well.
You ever recognize you go into a customer meeting cold and they're like, this guy looks familiar?
I've gotten that a number of times at customers, and even at Enterprise Connect a number of weeks ago. I had
Okay.
some people stop by and they're like, "Where do I know you from?"
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
went through the list, and of course the YouTube channel was the one that struck. So it's always fun to meet somebody that's a fan.
Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story. I had my 80-year-old aunt in Florida the other day. I was talking. It was like, yeah, I was watching YouTube, and then your face came up, and I was like, oh, that's. She had no idea what I was talking about in the video, but she was happy to see me on it.
Because you look good doing it.
Oh, thanks. I try. So, Matt, what's going on with you with respect to I mean, you've been producing videos for your customers in the past, right?
Yeah.
And now you're saying, well, why the heck should I just keep this to my customers? I'm going to start publishing them. But how did you see that differentiating you from either your peers or the competition and creating videos for your customers?
Uh, well, one thing that just happened in the last week, when the 9800 series came out, I said, this is some cool new hot desking capabilities and whatnot, and I wanted to get that information out to my customers, and that was one that I was like, this is helpful to everybody. Let's make sure I get a video out there for it. So I did a couple on that, and I reached out to the product manager and said, hey, can I get one of these so I can
Right.
do a real video touching the physical phone? And they're like, yeah, where do you want me to send it? So
Cool.
2 days later, I had one in my hands, the 9851 here, and so I started recording that, putting some videos out on how that works, and then so we're kind of starting a new campaign on our team to help communicate all the information about the new 9800s to our customers around the enterprise central area that I work in.
Mhm.
And actually just enterprise in general, they want to do this for. And they actually pointed to me and said, well, Matt's already been doing some of the things we want you guys to do now
Mhm.
to, to get this information out about the new line of phones. So internally, it has driven a little more visibility. I think that's
Yeah.
good for
Yeah.
the good old career.
Yeah, I think in terms of branding internally and awareness internally, it certainly helps to create this type of content. I remember when I was started creating content, they were like, "Have you talked to Adam? Have you talked to Adam? Because Adam's been doing it for doing it for a long time." And that's the benefit that I see, not only internally, and then when you posting on LinkedIn or YouTube just amplifies that beyond Cisco, right? Which I think is a fantastic thing. So, any other exciting projects coming up for you guys in terms of things you're thinking about creating that you haven't yet tackled yet?
I have a number of things on my desk to work on. Nothing specific that I'll mention yet, just because then I'll really be on the hook to deliver it. But
Right.
I enjoy customizations on the endpoints and kind of multi-technology integrations and things like that. Um, the audience for those things is not as broad, but I enjoy making them. And if you really ham up the experience, you can maybe capture some people that are just looking to be entertained as well. So we'll see. I got some work to do on that front. Nothing specific that I'll announce yet.
Okay. All right. How about you, Matt?
I have 6 or 7 videos recorded that I need to edit. Uh,
Oh, okay. So
I
so you record a
yeah,
bunch and batch them and then go back to edit. Okay.
yeah, I have 3 I did yesterday that were around the 950 headset,
Yeah.
and I went back and did um, the 720 with the Microsoft certified version,
Yeah.
and so I did a couple of there. So I have a bunch ready to go, but I wanted to dive more into some of our AI codec
Yeah.
stuff there. Yeah, there's some of the, like Adam was talking about, some of the things like doing customization on our endpoints. A lot of my customers that buy our video endpoints are really interested in that. So that's one that's ripe, I think, for just getting that information out there for people to be able to pull up and learn from.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think about what I'm working on or thinking about doing is some more videos around AI and how we're bringing AI into collaboration. There's a couple of new capabilities coming out. I put some videos out that sort of dabble in that, but I want to do a deeper dive on it. So that's sort of on my plate to do. And we should do a collaboration at some point. I think that'd be cool.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So I want to thank you guys for joining. Any final last words or questions you think we should pose to one another before we wrap this thing up?
I will say that maybe more to the audience is if you're thinking of recording content, you just need to hit record. You got to start doing it. And there was a kind of a mentor or encourager of mine that said exactly that. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it's not going to get out there if you don't hit record, and you learn things along the way. So make it happen. Give it a try. You learn something, and you probably learn more than the viewers, quite honestly. So go do it if you're thinking of doing it.
Yeah, I second that. Sometimes you just need to start.
Yep. And I think one of the other benefits we didn't talk about was when you create a video, by the time you finish that video, you really know that topic.
It's true.
So if you're in
Exactly.
sales and you have to do demos or you have to talk about a product with a customer, there's no better exercise than doing a video on it, right? Yeah. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for joining, giving insight to those out there who might be thinking about making content and giving them some inspiration to make that content. I think this was a fun conversation. Hopefully maybe next time we'll like do a critique of our earliest videos. Matt,
Yeah, yep.
you can't participate because your first one was good, but I look at my first one, I cringe. I don't know if you go back to your
Well, I can pull up
you
some old ones
cringe.
that aren't up there on YouTube.
I have maybe one or two I deleted and redid, so you have to see if I still have them somewhere.
Yeah, that'd be a fun exercise. But thanks again, guys, for joining. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having
Absolutely.
me.
Thank you both.
All right, cool.